Arizona's housing boom is over, and the data is already showing where the crash is hitting hardest. What was once the nation's hottest market has gone cold, with builders freezing projects, homeowners slashing prices, and investors quietly backing out. This isn't just another market correction, it's a full-scale reset, and the warning signs are everywhere. Prescott once sold itself as where Arizona comes to retire, surrounded by pine forests and mountain air. But by 2026, the postcard is fading. Median home prices climbed nearly 70% between 2020 and 2023, peaking above $650,000, but by late 2025, they had slipped to around $530,000, and experts warn the fall isn't done. The buyer pool vanished almost overnight as rising property insurance, surging HOA dues, and steep maintenance costs crushed retirees living on fixed incomes. Many longtime residents are being forced to sell, often for less than they paid. Construction that once seemed unstoppable has backfired, with new subdivisions in Chino Valley and Prescott Valley now standing half-empty. Open houses that once buzzed with out-of-state visitors are now silent. Cash buyers, once the foundation of this market, are demanding 25% discounts or walking away entirely. Prescott's crisis isn't just economic, it's generational. The migration that made this city a retirement haven has reversed, with rising living costs and insurance nightmares pushing seniors out and younger families unable to replace them. If trends continue, Prescott may soon redefine what it means to retire in Arizona. Gilbert, once the pride of Arizona's suburban boom, is now facing a reckoning few saw coming. For decades, this Phoenix suburb was the model of prosperity, with new schools, master-planned communities, and a housing market that seemed immune to downturns. But by 2026, even Gilbert's polished streets can't hide the cracks forming beneath the surface. During the pandemic, home prices exploded up nearly 70% between 2020 and 2022. Families poured in from California, drawn by promises of sunshine and affordable luxury, but those promises have unraveled. The median home price has now fallen from $640,000 to just under $520,000, a staggering 19% drop in only a year. Houses that sparked bidding wars in 2021 now linger on the market for months, with sellers slashing prices by $80,000 or more just to attract offers. It's not just housing fatigue, it's economic reality. Gilbert's workforce depends heavily on construction, education, and healthcare, sectors now tightening budgets and trimming jobs. Inflation has eaten away paychecks, while insurance premiums and property taxes have doubled. The result, even households earning $100,000 are falling behind. A home that once required $2,400 a month to maintain now costs closer to $4,000, with today's mortgage rates and insurance hikes. For a city once built on middle-class dreams, that math simply doesn't work anymore. Developers are hitting pause, with construction permits down 35% and some new subdivisions going dark mid-build. Meanwhile, investors who turned family homes into short-term rentals are feeling the squeeze. With occupancy rates falling below 55% and profit margins vanishing overnight, Gilbert isn't collapsing overnight, but behind the manicured lawns and quiet cul-de-sacs, a slow correction has begun. Flagstaff, high above the desert floor and nestled among ponderosa pines, was long seen as immune to housing crashes. A mountain escape powered by universities, tourism, and second-home wealth, Flagstaff's market soared past $800,000 in 2022. But now, even this alpine sanctuary is shivering under the chill of a market correction. Median values have fallen 17%, and local agents warn the slide could continue through 2026. The problem is classic affordability collapse. Wages haven't kept pace with costs. Even dual-income households earning six figures struggle to qualify under 7% mortgage rates. A modest $600,000 home now costs over $5,000 per month to maintain, before insurance and taxes. The city's Zoomtown advantage, once its superpower, has faded. As remote workers are called back to Phoenix, LA, and Silicon Valley, the very migration that inflated Flagstaff's market has reversed. Empty Airbnbs now outnumber active long-term rentals. Short-term rental owners, once the lifeblood of Flagstaff's prosperity, are now its most anxious sellers. New regulations, cooling tourism, and rising utility costs have turned profit into loss. Many are panic listing, flooding the market with overpriced properties that no longer move. Even developers are backing off. Luxury mountain lodges and condo projects are quietly being shelved as lenders grow wary. For decades, Flagstaff symbolized exclusivity, a high-altitude haven above Arizona's volatility. But in 2026, even this city in the clouds isn't safe from gravity. The crash has climbed the hill, and the silence that follows may echo longer than anyone expects. Tucson was once Arizona's hidden treasure, the affordable alternative to Phoenix, wrapped in desert charm, culture, and college town energy. For decades, it promised balance, big city amenities without the big city price tag. But that promise is unraveling. During the pandemic, Tucson's housing market exploded, with prices surging 55% in just 2 years. Now, that growth has reversed, and fast. The city's median home price has fallen nearly 15% since 2024, and the number of active listings has doubled. The quiet villain behind Tucson's downturn is insurance. After years of flash flooding, monsoon damage, and wildfire risk, premiums have tripled across Pima County. For some neighborhoods, annual coverage now exceeds $6,000, wiping out affordability even for longtime homeowners. A $400,000 home that once cost $2,400 a month to own now demands nearly $3,800 after insurance, taxes, and HOA fees, an impossible figure for a median local income of just $63,000. Families who stretched to buy during the boom are falling behind, while renters find themselves priced out by landlords trying to recover losses. Airbnb hosts, once Tucson's pandemic success story, are also hurting. Occupancy has dropped below 50%, forcing investors to unload homes at deep losses. Foreclosures are already up 30% year over year, and half-built subdivisions are quietly stalling as developers walk away from unfinished projects. Tucson was supposed to represent balance, where affordability met opportunity. But in 2026, it has become the face of Arizona's affordability paradox, a city where wages stand still, costs explode, and the desert dream slowly turns into economic burnout. Mesa, the sprawling heart of Phoenix's east side, once symbolized suburban success, clean, safe, family-friendly, and growing faster than almost anywhere in the country. But in 2026, that growth has become its undoing. Home prices have fallen nearly 20% since 2022, and the slide isn't slowing. Builders flooded Mesa with new housing during the pandemic boom, betting on endless population growth. But the buyers never came. Projects in Eastmark, Gateway, and Power Ranch now sit with half-finished homes and price cuts that grow steeper every month. Even longtime homeowners are feeling the pain. Insurance premiums that once cost $1,800 a year now exceed $5,000 for many properties. Combine that with 7% mortgage rates, HOA increases, and property taxes, and the average family's housing costs have doubled in 4 years. Realtors call it a market frozen in fear. Homes linger for months without offers, and sellers chase falling prices in a race they can't win. Investors who once snapped up rental properties have vanished, scared off by shrinking profit margins and declining rents. Local economists say Mesa's biggest risk is psychological. The city was built on the belief that housing always appreciates, that steady growth was a given. But when equity turns into debt and optimism turns into anxiety, even the most stable markets can crack. Analysts predict another 10 to 15% drop by the end of 2026, wiping billions in home equity and reshaping the city's future. Mesa's reversal isn't just a correction, it's a wake-up call. Because if Arizona's heartland isn't safe, nowhere is.
Sedona, the red rock jewel of Arizona, was once a sanctuary for artists, retirees, and dreamers chasing desert serenity. But by 2026, that serenity has turned into financial strain. Once considered immune to the volatility of Arizona's metro markets, Sedona is now witnessing the same painful correction sweeping through the rest of the state. Median home prices, which soared past $950,000 in 2022, have plunged nearly 20% in 2 years. Luxury properties that once sold overnight now linger for months, even after 6-figure price cuts. The causes are layered like the canyon walls themselves. Skyrocketing insurance premiums, dwindling tourism, and short-term rental restrictions have collided to drain Sedona's once unstoppable demand. Airbnb occupancy has fallen below 50%, and many investors who banked on year-round visitors are defaulting. Entire rows of high-end vacation homes now sit dark, beautiful but empty. Local families are being squeezed out too. Property taxes have climbed sharply as valuations fell, and the cost of living, from groceries to utilities, has soared. Even longtime residents are being forced to sell as maintenance, taxes, and insurance overwhelm fixed incomes. The town's economy, once buoyed by art galleries, spas, and boutique tourism, is faltering. Developers who once pitched Sedona as the Aspen of the desert are quietly shelving new projects. Realtors call today's market a paradox, breathtaking beauty shadowed by economic fragility. Sellers still hope for yesterday's prices, but buyers have vanished into caution. In 2026, beneath those crimson cliffs, the cracks in Arizona's housing dream are spreading, silent, slow, and impossible to ignore. Scottsdale wasn't just a city, it was a statement. Golf resorts, million-dollar homes, exotic cars cruising down palm-lined streets. This was the Beverly Hills of the desert, where the promise of endless sun and exclusivity made it one of America's most desirable zip codes. But in 2026, even the wealthy are feeling the chill. Home prices have fallen 18% in a single year. Yet the deeper issue isn't price, it's cost of ownership. Luxury insurance policies that once ran $6,000 now exceed $15,000 annually. HOAs are imposing five-figure special assessments for storm and infrastructure repairs, and property taxes are up nearly 30% since 2020. Even cash buyers are hesitating. Realtors report that high-end listings now sit on the market for more than 200 days, forcing sellers to slash prices by hundreds of thousands of dollars. Those million-dollar mansions in DC Ranch and Silverleaf are quietly being repriced below $800,000 and still not moving. Corporate investors and out-of-state speculators who once treated Scottsdale like a luxury playground have pulled out entirely. The demand that once seemed bottomless has evaporated, leaving behind a trail of over-leveraged properties and anxious owners. But Scottsdale's fall runs deeper than numbers. It's psychological. The city's identity was built on confidence, prestige, and the illusion that wealth could outpace risk. Now, as insurance and taxes eat into profit margins, that illusion is collapsing. In 2026, Scottsdale is discovering what few thought possible, that even luxury can crash. And the higher you climb, the harder the fall. Chandler was Arizona's tech darling, the Silicon Desert. With semiconductor plants, booming wages, and sleek new neighborhoods, it embodied modern prosperity. But in 2026, that prosperity is fracturing. After years of growth fueled by remote workers and corporate expansion, the market has turned sharply. Tech giants have frozen hiring and shifted operations overseas. Construction has slowed, and the ripple effect is spreading through every layer of the housing market. Median home prices have already dropped 16%, with luxury builds in neighborhoods like Ocotillo and Fulton Ranch sitting unsold. Builders are slashing prices by $100,000 or more just to get buyers through the door. But even those discounts can't compete with 7% mortgage rates and climbing insurance costs. The cost of living has exploded. Energy bills have soared, taxes have risen, and even high-income engineers are cutting corners. What once felt like a comfortable mortgage has become a suffocating payment. Local developers say Chandler's smart city expansion has backfired. There's simply too much supply and not enough qualified demand. Investors are now renting at losses or abandoning projects altogether. Analysts call Chandler's decline a warning to every fast-growth tech hub in America. When high-paying jobs stall and interest rates stay high, even innovation can't save the housing market. In 2026, Chandler's crash could become the first major correction of the Silicon Desert era, a proof that prosperity built on momentum can vanish faster than it arrived.
Phoenix, the heart of Arizona's boom, is now the heart of its reckoning. From 2019 to 2022, this desert metropolis was unstoppable. Home values doubled, bidding wars erupted daily, and out-of-state buyers treated every listing like gold. But the fire burned too hot, and now the flames have gone out. Median prices are down 15%. Inventory has doubled, and bidding wars are a distant memory. Builders who once couldn't pour foundations fast enough are sitting on thousands of unsold homes across suburbs like Goodyear, Surprise, and Peoria. At the height of the boom, Phoenix was adding more residents than any metro in America, but that momentum has stalled.
High interest rates, punishing insurance premiums, and relentless property taxes have frozen demand. A city built on migration now faces the harsh reality of stagnation. A median home that cost $1,700 a month to own in 2020 now costs $2,900 or more, and that's before maintenance and HOA fees. Insurance rates have tripled, and buyers simply can't keep up. Even rental demand is softening, with vacancy rates climbing to their highest level since 2012. Flippers who once made fortunes are bailing out. Investors are liquidating rentals at losses. Even new homeowners are walking away as equity evaporates. Foreclosure filings have perked up 20%, and analysts warn the slow drip could become a flood. Phoenix's decline won't be a crash, it'll be a grind. Month by month, prices slide, confidence fades, and optimism gives way to fatigue. By the end of 2026, much of the equity built during the pandemic will be gone, and Phoenix, once the face of Arizona's rise, could become the symbol of its fall. At number 1, Buckeye, Arizona's most explosive boomtown and now its biggest cautionary tale. For years, Buckeye was hailed as the next great American suburb. Developers promised futuristic, master-planned communities, affordable homes, and endless expansion. Between 2019 and 2022, home prices more than doubled, outpacing every other city in the state. But that kind of growth always has a breaking point. By 2026, Buckeye's market is collapsing. Prices are already down 25%, inventory has quadrupled, and construction sites that once buzzed with activity now sit silent. Builders are offering $50,000 discounts, covering closing costs, even throwing in free upgrades, and still can't move homes. The cause? Overbuilding and overconfidence. Developers built faster than the population could grow, assuming that migration from Phoenix and California would never slow. But it has, and the consequences are brutal. Compounding the problem are water shortages and infrastructure delays. Projects promised to have parks, schools, and shopping districts remain unfinished. Buyers feel misled, and many are backing out. Property values in half-built subdivisions have fallen 30%, leaving owners trapped in neighborhoods that never reached completion. Entire developments stand half-complete, their model homes surrounded by empty lots and tumbleweed. Investors who bought pre-construction units are walking away from deposits, unwilling to gamble on a recovery. Even rental demand has plummeted as workers and families relocate closer to Phoenix's urban core. Buckeye's fall isn't a blip, it's structural. It reveals what happens when optimism becomes denial and speculation outpaces sustainability. In 2026, Buckeye may not just be Arizona's housing warning sign, it may be America's, the perfect example of how fast the line between boom and bust can blur in the modern housing market. Arizona's reset isn't random, it's overbuild meeting reality. If you want data-driven breakdowns before the next storm hits, hit like and subscribe to Housing IQ for more insights.